Let's do the collective energy reading. So I'll do this in 3 parts. First part will be what's happening in the collective energy this week, including astrological placements. Second part will be how this affects the world stage and predictions for the week ahead. And the third stage will be the personal reading and how you can best navigate this energy. I'm using the Forecaster Oracle today, so let's get into this reading. Welcome to the collective energy for this week ahead. Now, I'm doing this reading today on the 4th of April, but this reading will be from around about the 6th of April, so the second week of April. Now, psychically during the week, a couple of days ago, I picked up that I needed to talk about when the moon transits through Sagittarius, and when it will be squaring or aspecting the planet Mars. That is this week. So I was thinking, and I didn't know it was coming, but I was told that this is going to be significant because it could bring in an opportunity for emotional energy, being the moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius represents extremist religion or religious pursuits. So we could be looking at Islam or Israel, emotional tension around one of those two countries, because of their connection to religion. So we could be seeing heightened energy there. Now, the celestial trigger, cosmic influence, is making me also talk about that today in the collective energy. So this is taking place this week. I'll just quickly show you the chart here. It will be the Wednesday is when the moon is sitting in Sagittarius over here, 24 degrees. It will be forming a aspect over here to Mars sitting in Pisces. Both of these signs are mutable, so it's going to be squaring the energy, which is quite a challenging aspect that we're seeing here. It's 28 degrees, that one's 24 degrees, or a 4-degree orb. So this, and they told me this a couple of days ago, that when this placement occurs, we could be looking at emotional tension in the collective due to some kind of religious energy related to Islam or Israel. So we're going to be seeing that over this week. The big things in the collective energy this week is going to be scarcity and the energy turning to scarcity. It may be an urgent response or a state of emergency as things start to run out this week. This will be big and high priority on the collective energy this week. We do see escalating tension, even though we're hearing reports of the war maybe ending in 3 weeks. We are seeing escalating conflicts according to the card, so it is ongoing this week. Now, depending on which country you are in, will depend on how heavily you are going to be affected by this scarcity. So whether that's fuel or food shortages, this is going to be a high priority, a state of emergency for some countries, depending on, and it will be different for each country, but it will be high on the priority list for the collective, worried about scarcity, fuel, food, farming, not to mention many other things. Cost of living, economic pressure, this is where food and fuels go up, and it becomes breaking point for some people in the collective, depending on certain groups, economic groups, or different countries around the world affected differently. There's diplomatic fallout from recent things that have been said about the tension, the conflict. It's diagonal. That's not good. It's showing these two here are connected. Diplomatic fallout, tension from what was said last week will result in escalating conflict. Even though they're talking about coming to the table with negotiations, the cards are not saying that. They're saying that there's diplomatic fallout because what has been said, resulting in escalating conflict. It's a state of emergency for some countries, running out of fuel, running out of, or the economic cost of living with food prices. Cosmic influence, celestial triggers, could be just asking me to talk about the thing that I was picking up a couple of days ago, the heightened tension that's going to be around an emotional heightened energy when the moon goes through Sagittarius and forms an aspect to Mars. That is this week. I didn't know it was happening, but I was picking up that this was going to be a significant emotional outburst kind of energy to do with religion. It could also be some kind of strange events, or things take a sudden turn, something weird happens. It could be a celestial event that is a strange event occurring this week. So let's take a look at the predictive energy for the week ahead. Particularly for this week ahead, I'm feeling there's a bit of strategy involved. There's quite a few things on the table here for what's going on this week. One of them being, and I hope I don't miss anything because I was getting quite a lot of information coming through here. So terms, deals being made. Now I do feel this is going to the table, or trying to get the countries to go to the table. Now they may not be. Here it could be going to the table with bordering countries to try and set. Okay, what I'm seeing, and one of the things I'm seeing, is the Strait of Hormuz, this being a clear path through the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe the boundaries are being challenged, border issues. Maybe they're trying to go to make deals this week with bordering countries to Iran to try and clear the path through the Strait of Hormuz. Now maybe the differences, they can't come to agreement because, especially what was said last week, we just saw in the last spread, there's issues with negotiations here and agreeing. This card is saying they're not agreeing. There's a complete divide here on what they want out of this deal. So it's now going to strategy, calculated moves, putting plans in to look at bordering countries and trying to get a clear path, or clear the path through the Strait of Hormuz. We're seeing the water here, we're seeing a clear path through. So they're trying to make some changes, transitional shifts or changes to clear the path through here, and they're using bordering countries to do this. Now, assistance, support, intervention. This could be to do with allied countries here, not providing assistance and support as requested, or it could be that trying to make deals around I feel this is allies here, or bordering countries to Iran, making deals, sitting below deals, and making deals with bordering countries to support or get intervention to clear the path through the Strait of Hormuz. But when it comes to Iran and the US, the differences are too big here. Especially since some things were said last week, I feel like there could be some escalating tension given the last spread that we just had. So there's calculated moves here on other ways around, other ways to clear the path, to what other shifts and change of plans. Now trade-offs here. What trade-offs have to be made? Could be this trade route as well through the Strait of Hormuz, but I feel like certain things with bordering countries, there's going to be sacrifice rights or some kind of trade-offs with the bordering countries around Iran, making deals to help or assist and support with clearing the path through Hormuz. So that it may not happen this week, but I feel like it's a strategy that's being looked at over this current week, because the deals or having Iran come to the table with the US, the differences are very divided. So they're looking at other calculated moves to try and clear this path here. Well, it doesn't happen this week, or it may not happen this week. It's on the table, so it could, but they're looking at other strategic ways to get subsistence and support from bordering countries. They'll have to make some trades here to do that, to get the deal over the line, to make these changes to clear the path. So let's finally look at this on how we're best navigating this energy. This is a collective energy, best ways to navigate it, more personal. So we're not looking at the predictive, we've just done the predictive, but again we're seeing very similar cards. So here I'm seeing that there is tension, and the tension's coming within personally, on a personal level, because of resources being limited, sacrificing, going without certain things. So sacrificing means going without certain resources, and that's causing tension on a personal level for us individually. Now I want to also say protect and guard your information this week. There could be some kind of issues around data breaching. Now this is not predictive, it's energy of how to best navigate. So I would say protect your information this week, because there's something here around censorship or censored speech. It could be social media, but also having to protect your personal data or information this week. Entertainment also in the certain things around entertainment heating up. Now let me see what that means if it's not a prediction. This is finding ways to entertain yourself on a personal level. So finding ways to, when you have to sacrifice, because there's maybe limited fuel this week, something's being sacrificed this week, so you're having to find different ways of entertaining yourself. That's how I would read that on a personal level, rather than read it on a predictive or a collective kind of way. But I do see here something around personally having to protect your right to speech or protect your personal data when it comes to censorship. So it could even be your personal data on social media. So for this week, I would say it is a little bit tense in the collective on a personal level because of sacrifices needing to be made this week. So focusing on other ways that you can entertain yourself this week, to not be so focused on the tension. And then over here, we're having to really just be careful and about our personal information, things we say. Speech here, we're having to censor the way we're speaking this week as well. So now because of the moon in Sagittarius is a very black and white kind of sign, and people may not be able to read things clearly. It's an emotional energy of the moon sitting in that sign. I'll just show you the chart again. I'm not giving it its own separate because we've still got this big heavy cluster here, but these are the ones that I'm focusing on today, the aspect that the moon's making to Mars here. So I feel like things could get a little bit heated emotionally. Arguments black and white because conflicts is represented by Mars, so it could be conflicting or competitive or fighting tension energy here with this Mars that's going to be affecting. So it could be emotional outbursts, but it could be also arguments because that's Mars. But Sagittarius is black and white, my way, your way, two different, completely different ways of seeing things. Could bring emotional tension or outbursts here. So having to be a little bit careful on your speech this week, on the way you say things. So that's kind of interesting, I think. Hope you all have a beautiful week ahead, and I will see you again next week.